Hey Rosie, I'm so happy to have this catch up today with you. And remember, the topic is about how to help people to break out of that corporate grind or the job they are in for only the money while they are dreaming about another life. How are you today?
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Andre, um, and thanks for having me in for this conversation. I think it's important to get that message out there that it is possible to start a different life and not rely on a corporate job or being an employee. So yeah, I'm really excited to be able to share my thoughts on that with your viewers.
Fantastic. So, where would you want to start? Maybe just take us back a bit to your previous life in corporate, where you may have had a dream about another life, so we know where you started from.
Great. So I was in IT, project management, for many years, and I absolutely loved my job. But it got to the point, I think I was 55 years
Mhm.
old, and I'm thinking I really didn't want to be an employee for the rest of my working life. I was kind of stuck in the mindset that I couldn't work from home when I wanted to, and it was a little bit too restrictive. And I thought, well, what can I do that would allow me to travel and work at the same time? Okay, because there are many places that we haven't been able to do that for the last year, but we're talking 3 years ago. So at the time I had massive plans to travel around the world, and I wanted to be able to have a funding source for that too. So that's when I started thinking about, okay, well, what options are there for working for myself? Now I have to clarify, I wasn't looking at having a business, I was just looking at something that I could do for myself, right? And I decided on a couple of things. A Amazon e-commerce business. Some ad popped up in my inbox somewhere, and it sounded interesting and very process driven. So I thought I'll have a look at that. And the other one was editing and proofreading, which doesn't sound very exciting for a lot of people, but that's something that I was good at and I'm good at. So I thought, well, maybe I could do that from anywhere and any time. And so I started going to um, those events that companies run where they bring in successful businessmen, and they talk about how they got to where they are, and they offer programs and so on. And one of them I went to, there was a speaker there that resonated with me, so I went to his workshops, and he's JT Fox, and I went to some of his business workshops, and it was there that the international coaches came up with a kind of a bigger picture for me, rather than just me editing and proofreading. It kind of morphed into the copywriting business, which is what I have now.
Lovely. So, I have heard two major keys dropped from what you said is that you decided and then you have kind of set up a vision as to what the next activity or project you're going to run. So, what happened after that?
Right. So it wasn't an immediate transition. I have to be clear on that, because I still needed that financial security for myself. So I started the businesses on the side as a side hustle, and just started working through finding out as much information as I could about how to start the businesses. And I'll separate the two. The copywriting business was more about laying the foundations and how I was going to run that with a small team of junior writers. And the e-commerce business was more about me going through all the training modules, and with the support of the e-commerce group, to get to the point where I could start selling products. So there were two different things, but they eventually came in to merge together, which I'll explain later. But it was more that, yes. So setting up as a side hustle, working through to the point where I felt that I was ready to be able to retire from my corporate job. So that took about 2.5 years to get
Hmm,
to that point.
amazing.
Yeah.
So, it looks like your change of transition has come back to taking those little steps every day that sort of adds up into inner certainty that now I'm ready to just move on and leave the old behind. Is that right?
Yeah, yes, you have to be ready for it mentally, I think, because it is a big shift, because you're losing that safety net of having regular employment or regular income. Okay, so you have to be financially and mentally ready for that. But if you've got the passion, you've got the drive, you've got the support that you around you, like you might not have family supporting you. I know some people don't, but it's important to surround yourself with other business people so you can support each other, right? You've got to be around like-minded people, otherwise it's very, very difficult to move forward.
Wow, you're just dropping all the big principles to achieve results. Like you said, get the right people around you. I'm always calling for people to get the right team, and especially the people who have already achieved what you want. That would really take you into the environment where the beliefs and the values are already there for you to kind of adopt and then make that shift. And also, you mentioned there must be a kind of proof of concept to see the cash flow already coming through from that side hustle. So, this is the time. I'm ready.
Mhm. Yeah,
Tell me
that's
more.
right. It's also, I think, important to not just surround yourself with people who believe in you, but also coaches.
Hmm.
Okay, so it doesn't matter whether it's for business or for music or for athletics. People move forward by having somebody coaching them. And the same, and particularly in business, you need to have somebody who is experienced, who's been there, done that. They've got an objective, like high level view of your situation, so they can guide you correctly. And because, as you know, it's common that if you're in a particular situation, you can't see outside that, right? You can't, yeah, because there's some sort of emotional barrier there. Okay, so having somebody as a coach to keep pushing you forward in the right direction is very, very important. So I did have business coaches, and I couldn't have gotten through to this point without them.
I love it, especially because that's what I'm doing. I'm coaching people and helping them through their own hurdles and whatever challenges they have, and especially what the mindset is, how they kind of limit themselves. And so, what is available if someone is really at the point of, well, I had enough. I'm really just going back to that old job for the money. Then what is available now? Because you mentioned to me there's so much more out there now to support someone in this kind of transition and this breakout. Tell us, share what you have found out.
So first of all, there are free and paid networking events. So if you can't afford to go to networking events like VX or BNI, there's free ones that are run on Meetup, which is um, it's an app that I use, but it's like people can organize meetups for any type of reason. But I go to a local one that's run by another businesswoman. It's
Mm.
free to attend. So surrounding yourself with other business people, absolutely essential. Okay. The other thing for resources, believe it or not, the ATO have a lot of information on their website to assist small businesses. And that's where there's one of the things that I recommend that people get onto as soon as possible, because you need to understand from a legal perspective, when it comes to the ATO, you've got to get it right. Okay, so record keeping and so on has to be done correctly. There's also the Australian consumer law. You have to be up to speed on what is in that, because there's even simple things like if you're selling products and what your refund policy is, you have to make sure it complies with the Australian consumer law. Because I came across one thing with, like, say, Shopify, their standard refund policy, there's something in there that contradicts Australian consumer law because it's an American company. So little things like that you need to be aware of. I also recommend there's a TAFE course, and in New South Wales, the state government sponsors that, which means it's free for the certificate in new small business. And that is a wealth of information. It's absolutely brilliant. So I highly recommend that for anybody starting off in business. There's also a business connect service that's sponsored by the New South Wales government that offers 4 hours of free coaching, business coaching. And then after that, it's heavily subsidized if you want additional coaching after that. But that's phenomenal as well. So we're actually very lucky here in New South Wales with the government sponsoring a lot of things for us, for small business owners, and it's something I didn't know about to start with. It's something I wish I had known right from the first day, basically, because I would have done the TAFE course. I only did that last year. I would have done it 2 years earlier if I'd known about it. And yeah, some of the other resources I found out later. It would have been good to know that up front. So and socializing with other business people straight away, which I didn't do, I would have found out about those resources.
Wow. So from what you're saying, it's clear to me that your journey of transition could have been a much faster jump if you had all of these key factors in place and you could have just done all the right things. ATO is doing certainly a good job. It looks like they want some more tax dollars rolling in, right?
Well, but they also help you to save money by not get fined, okay, for doing the wrong thing. So look, their information on their website is very good, and I do recommend it.
Is there anything else that you want to share with us that you have in mind? Perhaps some examples of how people could make that jump. I have certainly been on this journey recently, and I've been looking for a very long time how I could have a life what I want. I had real trouble getting direction and have that vision, that what I want to do. And it's just happening to me now as well, that I'm just transitioning out from a job. But just an example or two, if you come into your mind, how some people have done this real breakthrough, breakout. Can you share?
I think some of the key traits that I've seen from other business owners is that they really believed in what they were doing. So whether it was a service or a product, it's something they were really passionate about getting out there to people, right, and helping people. So it all comes down to they're not in it for the money, right? They're in there to provide a service to people, and having that belief in yourself and your product and services is absolutely critical. If you don't believe in it and you don't believe in yourself, then nobody else will.
So pretty much then it boils down to really passion and loving what you actually do, because then you won't get too frustrated not receiving money from it from the beginning, right?
Yeah, correct. But I know some people struggle to figure out what they're actually passionate about. And so it's real, that's a hard one. I know a few people like that, and they've got a lot of skills, but they haven't been able to hone in on a real passion that they could build a business from or work for themselves from. So that's more, I personally don't know how to help, what I can advise on that. I think somebody like you will be better off, sort of in a better position to help them work through that. Because and without that, I don't really see how they could start a business and be successful with it.
Definitely. I see a lot of people who are on the path to break out, but because as an employee, they are used to the hourly wage, or that they exchange their work for money. That doesn't just happen when someone starts to do that side hustle, which initially requires learning and really restart something new and making effort and investing time to have that certain level of experience and knowledge that will become something that will be, bringing in money and invoices and all of the activities of a business.
Yeah, and eventually provides this financial security that they need. So it's and it's the other thing too is it's not just like when you get if you do have a passion, you start your business, it's also getting those clients as well. So you can get that, the finances sorted out and make those sales, because if you don't market yourself, you don't get out there and start networking, nobody knows about you and nobody can find you.
Oh yes.
So there's a lot of aspects involved in that, but just that's very put very simplistically, but you have to be prepared to, first of all, like the service or product that you provide, work out what the problem is that you're solving for people, and then find a way to tell them that you've got this solution for the problem.
Definitely. I have people around me, I think they have one of the best products in what they are doing, and they are not prepared to learn to market themselves and sell, because it's unavoidable to get good at promoting that business, that idea, or the problem and the solution, plus maybe building case studies where people had a problem and you were the one who resolved it, and of course you then have video recommendation or review, which will be a proof of concept.
Yeah, and look, selling your business and services is difficult for a lot of people. It was for me, and it still is. It's an ongoing battle. But my business coach, she sort of helped me see it a different way. Like I'm not because I don't like the word selling. I don't like to sell. But it's not that I'm selling something. It's I'm providing a solution to a problem.
Yes.
So it's just constantly reminding myself that I've got a solution to a problem for some people. That takes away that scariness of, oh gosh, I've got to go and sell myself out there, and or sell my services. And it's a different mindset, which I think is what you can certainly help people with.
Yes, my thought process when I kind of deal with clients or customers then is absolutely not selling. I don't put that label on, but now I just mentioned it before. It's much more about really helping. Like, I'll give you an example. If someone needs milk and bread, they will go to Woolies, right? And they're not going to blame them. Why are you selling this to me? They need it. So as long as the client or the customer needs exactly what I have, this is just an exchange of energy, money, and of course, giving them what they need. And in that sense, it's nothing else but supporting people and, yes, thrive in life.
But people just need to know that they need to know about you, and they need to know that service that you're providing, so they know where to go.
Exactly. So, Rosie, did you want to share anything else as a plus or a bonus for us?
Look, I think I would just say, if for anybody who wants to start something and want to make that break and have their own business, just give it a go. Just think of something that there's so many opportunities out there. The people that I meet on a regular basis, I'm completely like blown away by the ideas that they've come up with for a business, right? So the opportunities are endless. It's like, just talk to your friends, talk to family that you trust, and look at what skills you've got. Forget about the title. Just look at the skills that you've got and how you can use those skills in a way to help people. And that could be your next business.
Beautiful. Well, thank you very much for your time. I will share this on different channels on social media, and I'm hoping you're gonna love this interview yourself, and hopefully this is a way to introduce you to your circles or people who have never heard from you before.
Thank you. And thank you very much for having me today. I've enjoyed the conversation.
Fantastic. Do you want to just share your details so people can actually contact you? Although I will just put your details under this interview, but just tell us where you are, how to find you.
Sure. Sure. So the easiest way, like my company is OneStopWriter, and the email address they can contact me on is rosie@onestopwriter.com.au.
Beautiful. Well, thanks very much, Rosie. And
Thank you, Andre.
you have a beautiful day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.